and just
Hey!
I think we're live.
Hello, we are.
I gotta say, this is a very prompt beginning to a stream. Usually there's technical difficulties, but um, should we just kick this off here?
Let's get going.
I think people are gonna be trickling in. That's fine. Welcome. Let's just do quick introductions because this is my first time on a stream. Al, you've been here quite a few times, but yeah, I don't know. Well, first of all, today we're going to be doing a launch week for Tinybird. We've had a busy week launching new products every single day this week. So we're just going to do a quick recap of everything that we've covered this week and give you little demos. And yeah, but first I'll introduce myself, and then I'll let you
Go
introduce
for it.
yourself so we can kind of jump into everything. Is that fine?
Go for it.
All right. Well, my name's Joe Carlson, and I'm a new developer advocate here at Tinybird. I've been in the data space talking about data, making content, screeching into the void about data and data related topics for years now. And I love it. And I just joined Tinybird because I think it's an amazing product. I've been obsessed with the team. And it's been making my life easier for the projects I'm working on too, which we'll be talking a little bit more today. But anyway, I tweet, I do TikToks, I make dumb videos. And then I have a bunch of stuff I'll be writing out on the Tinybird blog here soon. So keep an eye out if that's an interest to you. Al, I feel like every time I introduce myself, I'm like,
Wonderful.
I don't know what to say. I'm like, is that good? I should like get a tight 2 sentence intro to like who I am, and I refuse to.
No, it's great. Wing it. Do
Yep.
it slightly different every time.
Thank you.
Something
Yep.
new comes out.
That's right. No consistency.
So yeah, I mean, I've been here before, so I'll keep it short. I'm Al. I lead developer advocacy at Tinybird. I'm super excited to have Joe on the team. You'll be seeing his face a lot more on these streams. So
And my mustache, and I apologize for that.
inject the needed enthusiasm that was lacking sometimes.
Trying to just turn your headphones down if I'm yelling too loud into my microphone.
All right, let's kick into things.
Yeah, should we do like a quick overview? First of all, I want to say too, we promised swag. We're going to be talking about the swag store in just a moment, but at the end, we're going to be giving away four $40 swag codes. So if you're interested, be sure to stick around to the end for that. I will say engagement, questions, just general nonsense in the chat will raise your chances of getting a swag code. So just make some noise in the chat. We'd love to hear it from you too. But yeah, but today, so we're going to be talking about our new swag store, the Tiny Shop that just launched. We're going to be going over the first party connector, the Confluent connector, and I'll be covering the Snowflake connector, which is another first party connector we've just recently launched. And then lastly, we're going to be talking about some new ways to kind of play with your data. So we have our Mockingbird product, and then, or maybe just like an app. I don't even know what to call it. We have a thing called Mockingbird. And then we've also been launched a recent AI powered demo data tool to help you kind of play around with data using ChatGPT, which I'm super excited about demoing that. So, all right. Yeah. Cool. Did I miss anything? I think that's it.
No, great.
All right. Cool. Let's start with the Tiny Shop, huh? So, I probably should have thought ahead here and done a
open.
a banner on it. Yeah. Let's see here. There we go. Thank you. So if anyone watching from home's ever been like, wow, like Joe and Al are like wearing some really cool t-shirts or a cool hat, or like I just love Tinybird and I want to just rep it, you can just check out the Tinybird swag shop. I have to say, we just launched this. There's a couple things in here that I really want. Most notably, these 5-panel hats I'm obsessed with, and I really want one today. So if you guys don't get the swag codes, I'm going to steal one and buy one of these hats. But also, they're just cool. I love how like minimalist they are. I'm wearing one of these. Can't really tell over the banner, but I'm wearing my sweater right now. These eco sweatshirts, super comfortable, super soft. I think the white is a new hire exclusive, but you can get your hands on a black sweatshirt.
Those jumpers are top notch.
They're amazing. Oh, and I've been drinking out of this mug every day too, the Speedwinds mug too. I just think the logo is adorable. You know what I mean? It's a, and if you are like leaving Twitter and you want more cute bird related tech swag, I think this is the best replacement for you to possibly rep bird related tech products. Al, is there anything in here that you really like or that you want to like wish you could get your hands on?
I'm a sucker for the jumper. Really, the jumper is just the best thing. I mean, I need to get a second one as soon as my
Second one.
as soon as my white Tinybird jumper arrived. My girlfriend stole it, and I have not seen it since. So I need a second.
I've been hiding it from my girlfriend. It's I give her lots of swag I get from conferences, but this one's exclusively mine.
Yeah, that is the problem. They are so nice. They will be stolen.
And Raquel, you're in the lead for getting some free swag here today too for that comment. If you like anything in here, to make sure you're commenting and letting us know and asking us questions about the stuff we're working on. Again, we have 4 promo codes to be giving away at the end of the stream, and you too, for $40, so you could get yourself one of these sweatshirts just for chatting with us today. All right, cool. Tiny shop, nothing too fancy. It's just a cool thing. It makes it easier for us to get you Tinybird swag if that's something that you possibly want. All right, cool. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how to. There we go. All right, cool. Let's see here. Should we go off to our next thing here? I think Alasdair is going to show us a little bit about the new Confluent connector.
It's over to me.
And then, Al, could you make your screen a lot bigger?
Yes, I can. Thank you for reminding me.
Make it.
That was
ridiculously
frustrating.
large.
I did a stream and I didn't realize that I was doing it in 720p and nobody could read anything, and I was really disappointed afterwards.
Yeah. If you guys are having trouble with it or like audio or can't see anything, just yell at us in the chat. We'll read it. But I can read it from here, so good enough.
Lovely. Right. So day 2 of launch week was the Confluent connector. So if you are familiar with our Kafka connector, it's a mightily similar experience. If you are a Confluent Cloud customer, you can connect your Confluent Cloud Kafka clusters directly into Tinybird, sync your topics into a table, write SQL, and publish APIs. So I'm going to show you what that looks like.
Why would someone want to do that?
So Kafka is an amazingly powerful messaging service, right? And it's great for what it does, but it's pretty difficult to actually go and write applications over the top of it. So it doesn't have a built-in way to process data and to expose data. So typically what you'd have to do is write custom code, deploy some stuff, consume messages, process it, and serve it to an application. What you can do with Tinybird is ingest all of your messages from Kafka into a table, write some SQL, query it, transform it, enrich it, do whatever you want, and publish it straight into a HTTP API and put that in your application.
Cool.
No code at all. So,
because I mean, whenever I use Kafka data, the hardest part I get to is like actually using the data that comes out of that stream. And for me, the biggest thing that's been useful with Tinybird is that we just stream in your data, we load it in, and then you can make an API out of it just instantly. It makes actually like using that stream data super easy.
Yeah, that is the
that's the goal.
All right. Let me get into the demo. So inside the UI, if you go into add a new data source, you'll see there is now a fancy Confluent button. And if you click into that, it would help if I had deleted the old one. So I'll get rid of that. You will see this window that will let you add all of your Confluent details. So I have gone into Confluent Cloud and I've created a cluster. It's got one topic in it. So I'm just going to paste my details into this. So into my Bootstrap server, I'll paste that. I can give it a name. I'm just going to call it Kafka. My key, so you will have to generate inside Confluent Cloud, generate a new API key and copy your key and secret. And I'll copy the secret. And for the SASL mechanism, you want to use plain. That is the one that Confluent supports. Go to next, and it will show you all of your topics. I've only got one topic in the events Kafka, so I'm just going to pick that. You can set a group ID if you want to. And then you can pick earliest or latest for where to start consuming messages from. So if you pick earliest, it'll go right back to the earliest offset that is currently in the Kafka topic. And if you pick latest, it'll ignore everything that's already in there and only ingest new messages. I'm going to pick latest because I don't care about all of the data that I've already sent in there.
Of course.
So
with Kafka too, it's streaming data. So for this case, we just want the fresh stuff.
So I'll get a preview of my data. You can change all of the column names. You can change their types. Those are fine for me at the moment. You can rename this. I'll call it events. You can also change the advanced settings. So things like your sorting key. I won't go into too much detail about the sorting key at the moment, but you can change those things. For this, I'll use the timestamp so that all of my data, when it is ingested, is sorted by its timestamp. I'll leave it as that and create the data source. So that won't ingest anything because I've told it to only take the new data. And I'm going to kick off something to generate some data. And as that's generating data, you'll start to see that pop in.
I love, one of my favorite things actually is like the auto schema generator. Like you don't have to do anything for it to and it's very good at guessing what your schema is, but you can still have control over, the types and names and that sort of thing as it's streaming in.
Yeah,
or as you're establishing the connection.
It's massive time saver.
I agree.
So that has just automatically started picking up the messages as they come into Kafka. There's no schedules or anything. It's just a consumer on the topic, and it's ingesting them in real time.
Yeah.
So now I've ingested those. They are effectively in a database table, and you can use that in any way that you would normally use a database table. So you can create a new pipe and start writing SQL. So I can run that just as a select star over my table. I'm not going to go too much into fancy SQL things that you can do over it. It's SQL. Anything that you can imagine that you could do in SQL over it, you can do. So basic count. The magic really is, let's say I give this a name. I want to know how many messages I've ingested, and I can keep running this. And as I ingest new records, that number will keep updating. I don't know what the cadence of my generator is at the moment. So once I've got that, to publish it as an API to go and use in my application, I can click Create API Endpoint, pick the node that I want to publish, and confetti, and I get a HTTP API with the results of my query. So I can copy that, open a new tab, paste that in, and get the result of my SQL query in JSON as an HTTP API. So I don't have to go and write a custom API. I don't have to mess about with ORMs. I don't have to deploy it on infrastructure. It's all done for me.
I wasn't timing, but that took you like 3-4 minutes to get an API.
And that was mostly me sort of waffling nonsense on top of it.
So. Sure, if you were speed running this could maybe take 60 seconds.
Could do it in about,
with your eyes closed.
So that is pretty much the Confluent connector. Start ingesting your Kafka streams, write some SQL, get APIs.
Easy. I love that. That's amazing. All right. I'll take it from here then. So we have
to Joe.
Our Confluent Kafka connector. Cool. We also, I think day 3 was our Snowflake connector this week for launch week, which is a little bit different of a data type, right? Like Kafka streams, message queues coming in real time, data coming in real time. Snowflake's a little bit different and hits different use cases. And we're going to be talking about how you can actually use both Kafka streams and data warehouses together to make APIs with new data aggregations. But the hard part too with using data warehouses is actually using that data. And in particular, the hard part about using data warehouses is using that data for real-time situations. I think data warehouses are really useful for doing slow aggregate queries and kind of doing long-term data analysis on all of your data, which is amazing. But the hard part of using a data warehouse and utilizing it with a data stream is getting a real-time nature out of the warehouse. And with like something like it's Snowflake, it can be possible, but it's extremely expensive to be able to do that. And by just like connecting your data up to Tinybird, it can make it a lot easier to like actually use that data and like integrate that in a real-time fashion. So we're just going to kind of show how to do that, I guess, today. And by I guess, I mean, we're for sure going to be doing that. Okay. I think you and I both clicked the add to stream button at the same time.
I think we did. I think I removed you.
Yep. All right, cool. Let's see here. So first of all, what I'm going to be doing is making my screen bigger so everyone can see what's going on. I'm going to refresh the page. And we can see I'm in the same project that Al was just in where he added the Kafka events. You can see all the data he just added here just moments ago. And I'm going to be also adding our Snowflake connector. Just like the Confluent button, we got a brand new shiny Snowflake, sparkling Snowflake button here. So we're going to be pulling in data from our Snowflake connector. I'm also going to be deleting that connection.
I've done it again.
The good news of this is that we're just showing that we've done this before. We practiced this a little bit. So anyway, what you're going to be doing, it's a little bit, actually, it's pretty easy. I've been actually super impressed while playing around with this, but you just pass through your Snowflake warehouse's information, and Tinybird's able to automatically connect to your warehouse, and there we go. It's able to automatically connect your warehouse and pull in that data for you. So I'm going to click connect, and then we're given a SQL statement that we need to execute in Snowflake. I need to choose my role. Actually, I'm going to do my data editor. You never want to use admin. Bad. And then you pick the warehouse you want to connect to. And then once you're in there, you have to execute a SQL command in your Snowflake warehouse. So great. I've got that here. I've already run this first one, but I'll run it again. I think I should be safe. Oops, I got to choose my database first. And I'll do it in samples. Great. And hit enter. Cool. Statements successfully ran. And then I'm going to grant create stage on all schemas in R. And I'm going to hit, I have to choose the database we want to give access to. So I'm just going to do place name and editor. Great. Run that. Whoops. Oh, I just Tinybird. Sorry. There we go.
Just
There we
FYI,
go.
the reason I have gone very quiet and there is not a lot of banter happening right now is my plumber has just arrived and I'm trying to save you from a lot of banging.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. I hope your house doesn't flood here while we're on a live stream. If it does, we'll forgive you for taking a bow out here. All right, cool. So we have connected up our authenticated our Snowflake warehouse. Snowbird. I think Snowbird would actually be a good name now that I made that slip up. And now we have to name our Tinybird connection. I'm just going to call it Snowflake. I'm just going to call it Snowflake. Easy. All right. So it loads in all the data we have in here. We gave it access to our Tinybird table. I'm going to pull in our sample data. And then it's product CSV3 we're going to be loading in here. We also have some other ones, 1 million rows of data, and we're going to hit next. So this works a little bit differently than the Kafka connector. So since it's a data warehouse, you have to be setting the intervals in which you're going to be pulling from the data warehouse. Because Kafka data just streams in, right? It's a message queue that streams in. And Tinybird's able to like pull that in and load that into the Tinybird database automatically. But with a data warehouse, you need to set the frequency in which you're going to be loading that data in. So I'm just going to do a one-off because we're just doing a quick demo today. But you can set cron jobs, you can set intervals every minute, once a day, maybe do it at night, that sort of thing too. So I'm just going to do a single ingestion here just to kind of demo how this works. So just like with the Kafka, what's that?
Just a comment on that quickly.
Yeah.
Is the nice thing there is all of the scheduling and everything is handled within Tinybird. So you don't need an external scheduler to trigger Airflow or anything like Airflow, to Prefect or anything to trigger those jobs. You set the schedule as a cron job inside Tinybird.
We handle it all for you. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I don't know about you, but I've handled cron jobs in production, and those are a nightmare to maintain, and we just do it all for you. So same thing with the Kafka connector. We automatically determine your schema and make a schema recommendations with data types. You can totally go ahead and adjust these to whatever your heart's desire is. We have a bunch of ints, strings, that sort of thing too. But I'm just going to hit good to go. So let's see here. Create data source. And just like with the Kafka connector, you're going to see it. We're provisioning it. Tinybird runs on it's serverless, so it kind of spins up the data source for us, and then it starts syncing it, which you can see here, and we're going to start seeing that data getting loaded in. With a Snowflake connector, depending on which data you had, it usually takes anywhere from like 20 seconds to 60 seconds, depending on how big your data source is. But it should start going here. Once we see that data come in, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to write some SQL to connect up Al's Kafka connector data that he pulled in with the event data with our warehoused Snowflake product data. So we want to see the real-time events as they're happening, like with the transaction data, with the product data that we have of our, our imaginary e-commerce site here with all of our products and legacy product data all kind of archived. All right. I'm going to refresh and see if that still going here. That's okay. Maybe I'll start working on it while it's still loading in here. So I'm going to go to Al's pipe here. Well, I guess we could make a new one, huh? So this is just, he's given the count here. I'm going to make a brand new pipe while we're loading in here. And what I want to do is use the Kafka data as it's streaming in and join it with the data we have in our Snowflake warehouse and then get some sort of insights in that in real time. So for example, right, like if we're doing a join on the events, we want to be able to show what the specific products they are based on the product ID. So forgive me, I'm not going to have everyone watch me write 10 lines of SQL here. So I'm just going to copy pasta this. And we have our select. Okay. And let's see here. We're going to be doing, okay. I'm just going to do, whoops. And Al, help me if I'm wrong here too. We're going to be doing a select and choosing the fields from the Kafka connector that we want to actually be passing through. And then we're going to be doing a inner join. So inner join. I think it's prods. Probably make a better name for that, but very clear, very specific here on. And I love the autocomplete here too. So we're going to be pulling in product ID. I think it's just equals oops, O underscore, yep, ID, there it is. We're pulling it on, I think, is that doesn't look right to me.
No, that's your table.
That's oh yeah, so we can just do, can we just do
it's going to be yeah, product ID is
I think you're right.
The left side of the equals.
Product ID, that's right, because that's the, there we go.
So that needs to be on the other side of your equals there.
Oh yeah.
In a join on your table, and then on.
This is why. There we go.
This is always, it always happens when you're doing it when you're the one typing live. You can never see what's wrong with your own query.
Oh, I usually can. This is just I think that looks. We'll try it out here, and then we're going to be doing. I'm going to do a copy pasta here with my handy dandy. So we're going to be pulling. I want to make this clear, right? So on line 11, or from 1 to 11 here, we're pulling data from the Kafka stream. You can see we've got the little Kafka icon here, and then we're doing an inner join on the Snowflake database, and then we're going to be doing a group by on that, and we want to show this data once they've been joined, right? So let's try giving it a run here and see what happens. Hey, great. So same thing, right? So we're able to do a join. So the cool part about this is that it's super hard to use multiple data sources that are coming from different places. But we were able to do this in just like a couple minutes, right? We're able to pull this in. Obviously, the data's done loading it in, which is amazing. And just like we could do with the Kafka connector, we can make a joint API in just like 2 minutes with a data warehouse and real-time data stream. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit create API endpoints, confetti, amazing. And just like before, we can pop that in and we can take a look at all the data. I should just expand all. There we go.
Yeah. So I mean, this is pretty powerful, right? If you think this is not just publishing an API over a Kafka stream, it's not just publishing an API over Snowflake data.
Yeah.
This is taking both of those, joining them together, and publishing an API out of it in one tool without writing a single line of code, which is, I mean,
and using a data source that traditionally does not handle real-time data with a source that in its very nature is real-time to produce an API endpoint that you can just use automatically. Yeah, and like always with Tinybird, you can provision security to the API endpoints. We handle the scalability for you. We auto scale by it. Yeah, actually, and can you talk about the billing too? Like, in my understanding, you don't get charged for just like kind of playing around with the developer and you're kind of getting your API endpoint set up. You're only charged for production use. So if you're a developer kind of wanting to like play around with this, go for it. We won't charge you for that.
Yeah. Can you close the tab that you're on at the moment? That error is driving me crazy. So that's just because you've got one tab open on the US region. No, just close that one. You've got one tab open on the US region and one open on the EU region,
you.
and your auth token has expired on the other one.
Trying to
just making me twitch.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. All right, cool. And you can just pay publishing, you rename it or whatever too. So what do we do here? We're doing like
and yeah, as you're saying, the way the billing on that works, right, is it's not every time you're not getting charged flat on how many times you hit the API, and you're not paying per hour of having a database just running continuously. So it's purely based on usage. So if you're not hitting the API, you're not incurring any usage.
Yep.
And you're not getting charged.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's serverless, right? You don't have to care that there's servers behind the scenes running. You're not paying for the time those servers are running. You're only paying for the time that your query runs.
That means you can like pull in just massive amounts of data too. Like if you want to do that and like synthesize that over here, you're only charged the data that's processed by Tinybird. I don't know. I love that. I just love that model, especially with like a data endpoint. It's because it can be scary, especially if you're pulling in warehouses, which can have a lot of data. It can be expensive to even just play around with that, but this makes it a lot easier to do that. Okay, cool. Let's see here. And anyone in the chat too, reminder, we're going to be giving away 4 $40 gift cards or I don't know, coupon codes. I don't even know what to call them for the swag shop. So any questions, comments in the chat will be encouraged. I'm not saying we're bribing you to chat with us, but we're highly incentivizing you to do it. Okay, cool. Let's see here. I think that's it. I'll pass it over to you, Al, for the next the next bit here.
Cool. So I'll bring myself back in. So we just joined this events data source with this products data source, which is Kafka and Snowflake. But let's say you don't have Kafka, right? Let's maybe you want something more lightweight, or maybe you're still evaluating, you're still in development, you've only got production Kafka and you don't want to connect that to a development environment. So in that scenario, you want some way to be able to generate fake data, and for a real-time platform, you want to be able to do it with a stream of data and not just a CSV. So when we do this internally, for the past however long, I mean, I've been doing this for the past decade of building these disposable Python scripts to generate fake data and send them to things that I can test against them. And, you waste however many hours building those scripts and then you never use them again. So to try and prevent that, we built Mockingbird, and day 4 of our launch was launching Mockingbird. So Mockingbird is a mock streaming data generator where you can define whatever data schema you want in a piece of JSON, save it, and it sends it to any downstream HTTP data source. So it is a free open source project. It's up on GitHub. There is a lovely UI that we spent a while designing, but there is also a CLI for people that live on the terminal.
I didn't know that.
Package.
How did I just know that? That's amazing. Which is going to make it super easy for like writing scripts to do, end-to-end testing or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can stick it in your CI/CD and generate a synthetic stream of data during your CI process to test stuff, which is pretty cool.
Can I just say, because like Kafka data is amazing. We do a lot of work with it, but like setting up a fake data stream, it takes way too long. And this just does it in the browser. I've been using this for the last couple of weeks and building demos, and it's like made my life so much easier.
Yeah. And lastly, it's also available as a package. So you can just npm install. And if you're building a project, your own front end, your own project, you can just go and embed it into your own application and talk to it in code and have it do all the heavy lifting for you. So very flexible, and we launched with support for 2 downstream sources, which is Tinybird and Upstash Kafka. Again, it's open source, it's pluggable, so anyone can come along, contribute a new connector. If you want to come along and send it to your own database that you're developing, go for it. It's not.
Do we have any plans to add additional endpoints in the future?
Yeah, we're looking at adding a Confluent Kafka one very soon. I actually had a message from somebody at Timescale recently to say we would love to be able to support Timescale with it. So that'd be pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep going, and I'm sure the connectors will grow. But let me show you how it works. So you can just go to mockingbird.tinybird.co if you want to find a hosted web UI. It looks very pretty. You can hit.
Can you make it bigger?
I sure can. See, this is where hopefully we have made it responsive and it scales properly.
The ultimate test, live on stream.
So you can pick your connector. I'm just going to select the Tinybird Events API. We also have Upstash. Our workspace at the moment is in the EU, so I'll leave that as it is. Our data source was called Events, and I will just go across and copy my auth token.
Everyone close your eyes.
Tinybird. That's okay. Oh, okay. We need to put a password.
Close your eyes, everyone.
Field on that input. It's okay. You can only see half of it.
We're changing this immediately after the stream, but please.
So I can set that at whatever events per second I want. So it starts at 1, but you can set that at 1,000 events per second if you want to, if you really want to kick it through. You can set a limit, so you can say, if you don't put a limit, it will just keep generating 1,000 events per second. If you set a limit, you can say, have a limit of 10,000, so it will generate 1,000 events per second until it reaches 10,000 events.
Will it keep generating if it closes the browser?
No. So it runs in the browser, so if you close it, it will stop.
It's just using the event or HTTP requests from the browser.
Yeah, correct. It does, though, use a web worker, so it runs the generation on a background thread in the browser, so it doesn't lock up your browser when you're.
Thank you for doing that. Please, folks, use web workers if you have a CPU intensive app, please. And I
sure.
like 1,000 events per minute. Like if you're interested in evaluating Tinybird or like anything that's using a Kafka stream, right? Like this can be really helpful for what's the word? Like scalability testing, right? Like I think demo data, if you're just doing like 1 or 2 a second, cool, that can help for like development. But like if you're looking to evaluate like how massively you can scale, Mockingbird can be a really useful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you can use it to generate, if you're developing a POC and you just want to have some stuff to develop against, use it
Yep.
for that. If you've already
Yep.
built something and you just want to throw loads of data at it and load
Yep.
test it, great for that as well. You could even have multiple people running it and all generating data at the same time.
Yep. Get my laptop farm up.
So I've configured the Tinybird source. I'll click continue, and so then I can start building my schema. So instead of having to write a bunch of code to go and build all my data, it uses a library called Faker.js under the hood, and that comes with a whole bunch of like predefined data types that you can go and pick. Any of those work. So whenever you define a type, you can just choose any of the Faker.js types. We've also added some of our own for things that were missing from Faker. And again, that is extensible, so people can come along and contribute new data types.
Can you give some examples of things that we built that aren't supported by Faker? So I've been using Faker for years. I love it, but
yeah, so things like this pick. So anything that's prefixed in Mockingbird is something that we added. So pick is basically, sometimes you've got like 3 set values and you want it to be one of those set values. So you don't want it to be random values. You want it to be one of those three set values, but a random one each time. So you just give an array of values and it randomly picks one.
Cool.
And then the same for like pick weighted, which is the same thing, a bunch of values, but you can assign a weight to each item to say, I want this one to happen 90% of the time, this one to be 7, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So just little utilities.
Cool.
So I'll clear this all out and just show you what it looks like to build one from scratch. I'm going to keep it simple and then just pick a template. So this event's data source had all of these fields. So we'll just recreate a couple of those. So we'll start with, let's say, the timestamp. So the key of the object is the column name that will come out. And then under that, you define what the type will be. And then you just give in the name of the type. So this is a custom Mockingbird type. And it's just for a timestamp at the current time. So if I hit save, you'll get a little preview of what that looks like. So you've got a timestamp, which is the current timestamp with nanoseconds on it. So next one is store ID, and store ID was a type of number, which is just the fully qualified Faker type. So it's just an inbuilt Faker type, and that takes some parameters. So we can pass in all of the parameters that those types expect as well. So that takes in one that is a min, and we want that to start at 1, and we can give it a max, and that caps at 6. So just by doing that, we can get, the current timestamp and a random number between 1 and 6. Super basic example, but there's hundreds of types that you can pick from. You can get pretty complex with them. And on top of that, we have a whole bunch of templates that you can use of pre-built schemas. Again, these are open source and you can go and contribute one. So if there's one that you keep building and you think it's super useful, contribute it and it can get added to the list of templates to reuse. So for this e-commerce stuff, we've got a template, which is this one, which has the exact schema of the Kafka stream that we had. The only difference is I only want product IDs between 1 and 100,000, because that is the table we loaded from Snowflake. And so if I save that, we get all of the same fields that we were getting out of Kafka. So I can just, if I come back here and I truncate this Kafka table, so all of that Kafka data goes away, it's now empty. And if I start generating, so we're now sending data, and I can go back and we've got data again. So we're generating data in exactly the same schema as it was coming from Kafka, but it's now completely synthetic. We don't have Kafka. We're sending it straight from the browser. and we didn't write yet another useless or just not useless but disposable Python script that takes a while.
Yeah, you can just hit a button. And if you did want to script it, you can use the npm package to do so. But this makes it a little bit more consistent too. I think it makes it easier to kind of scale across. Because I did the same thing. Every package that I'm doing end-to-end testing on, using a stream or fake data, I have to write, custom bespoke script to do that. And this takes care of that.
Yep, exactly.
Nice demo. I love that. If anyone has any questions, be sure to ask us in the chat. If you're interested in contributing, I just posted the link to the GitHub in there, or just like if you want to check out the source code, that's cool too. But it's mockingbird.tinybird.co. And I also linked to the NPM package as well.
Awesome. So that was day 4. We are
day
on
4.
To day 5, which is today.
Can I just say this is one of the things I'm most excited about? I think we're saving the best for last. Not that those other things weren't cool. It's just me as a developer advocate. This is the thing I'm most excited about. It's kind of us dipping our toes into the AI space here. And I think it's like a taste of what's to come with databases in general, kind of utilizing large language models to make using databases easier. Let's see here. Am I the one talking about this one? I think so.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So last but not least is our AI powered demo. It's actually Al, do you have the link for the stage environment, or is it live now in
It's live.
Oh, amazing. Great. So I did see that this morning. So we've have our own ChatGPT integration with and this is related to Mockingbird. We allow you to create your own streaming data samples. This is actually using Mockingbird, which we just demoed behind the scenes. But instead of having to define all of the faker endpoints yourself, which you can still do using Mockingbird, we can do it for you automatically using a large language model. We're using the ChatGPT OpenAI.
Do you want to just go back quickly and show how you got to that?
Yes.
The screen wasn't sharing it.
Oh, thank you. Good question. So I'm still in our same project, but I'm just going to add a data source straight from the app, right? We're in our, what do we call these? This is our workspace. And I'm going to add a brand new data source. We have our Confluent Snowflake connectors we just showed. And we have, these are the two you're probably familiar with. We have some sample data sets we pull in, but the brand new one here that is our create your own. So and instead of having to define like the faker schema, like we just showed you, you can actually just you can just vaguely describe what the schema you want, and we will generate a Mockingbird schema for you automatically. So you could put something like generate. Let's see, I'm going to do one that I've been working on recently. So I've been working on a fraud detection demo, but I want to generate a schema of financial. Oh, thank God for Grammarly. Transactions to be used for fraud detection. And you can define like more things that you want on there too. So I want to detect potential fraud by location, time. I'm going to put like, I want to detect potential fraud by location, time of day, purchase amount, and include some other commonly used transaction, metadata that you'd have in while you're keeping track of that. So let's do generate schema. It's going to go hit the chat or the OpenAI endpoint, and it's going to automatically create a brand new schema for us. It defines the types and all the amounts. So just like we asked for, we have location, card type, amount, merchant IDs, that sort of thing that we can automatically pull in. So I'm going to hit confirm and ingest, and it's for 10 minutes. It's going to be pulling in, or is it 10 minutes at 20 messages per second, I think is what it's doing. But it's going to be doing the same thing that Mockingbird did, and it's automatically going to be pulling in your custom data. So you can see it's getting pulled in here, and it's adjusting for the next 10 minutes. But you can see our amount slowly growing here. So I'm just going to do like fraud detection actions, something like that. And it's pulling in. You could do, and like we can do a bunch here too. Like I think like this is one specific example, but you could even do things like if you want to define those types, you can totally do that too. I'm gonna pull in. You can be as specific as you want. The more information you give it, the better it's going to be. So let's say we want to define customer transactions for e-commerce site, but we want the order number to be of a int32 data type. Cool. And price should be a float. All right, let's see what happens. And as expected, ChatGPT is able to automatically pull that schema in.
Yeah, the other cool thing you should be able to do as well is if you click on the type.
Oh, can you change it?
Yeah.
I just tell you what, let's do another one in there. We'll change the type in there. 20 events per second for 10 minutes. So we're going to do a weather application demo. So I'm going to hit generate schema. Al, are you telling me I can change the type after it generates it?
So if you click on the blue type name.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's do like, I don't know. Maybe we want this to be, we only want it, integers for precipitation. We'll fully round to full nearest inch or centimeter or whatever. Cool. So you can change all that stuff.
Yeah. So you can get the best of both worlds, being able to just sort of ask it for something, and if you're okay with it, take it. But if it's not quite perfect, you can give it a couple of adjustments if you know that one particular field should be something.
And if you want to change it, like this isn't, close, and I'm like, oh, I need more information. Like I also include, I don't know, what's got pressure. What other thing? Lat longitude, maybe.
Well, this is where Jim should be jumping in the chat with his experience in the weather ecosystem.
If any weather nerds out there, please shout out. And there we go. We got a latitude and longitude pulled in there as well too. So you can always adjust the types, and then before you confirm and adjust it. Yeah, I don't know. This is super cool, and I'm wondering, Al, is this feature going to be integrated into Mockingbird at all in the near future?
So we don't have plans at the moment to bring that into Mockingbird itself, the open source one. Obviously, it's open source, so if somebody wanted to work on it, go for it. The reason is because it adds a dependency on an external service, right? You need to be able to hit OpenAPI, and that means you need auth keys, and there's a cost to doing OpenAPI.
That's true.
As inside the Tinybird product, this is a free service that we give to any Tinybird user, right? So you can go to Tinybird, create a free account, no credit card, and start using this and generating schemas and generating synthetic data, create as many POCs and as many demos as you want using it, and it costs you nothing.
Wow.
So pretty powerful. I mean, that's pretty much like what we've tried to do is avoid the hype of just throwing AI in there somewhere and hoping that it kind of, sounds a bit interesting, and actually go for something that we think is going to be hugely helpful, right? Quite often you come along and, you've got a vague idea of, I kind of want to build this thing, I want to try it out, but there's a big hurdle of, okay, if I want to try that out, I need to define my schema, and I need to come up with some fake data to go and test that out. And then it adds a big barrier to actually going and testing that idea, because you have to do all of this upfront work that isn't actually valuable to go and validate the idea that might be valuable. So this just lets you say, hey, this is the thing that I'm trying to try out. Give me some fake data. I'm going to go and try it out and see if it's valuable, because it might turn out that, it's not valuable. You go, okay, I haven't wasted much time. So, we shall see, but I think it's going to be hugely helpful.
I think so too. And I just am catching up on chat here too. Looks like we have a question. Let me pull it up here too. I'm going to remove for generating events with two different schemas, visits and purchases. Should I open two tabs? And this is referring to Mockingbird.
Yeah. So if you want to generate two schemas, two streams of different schemas at the same time, then you can open as many tabs as you want and generate as many different streams as you want. Obviously, remember, it's your computer that is generating those streams. So don't generate 10,000 and knock your own computer over.
Yeah, you probably don't want to open 100 tabs. No, great question though. Yeah, you can pull in as many data sources as you want in real time. Cool. Nico, thanks for that question. All right, cool. Let's hear. Is there anything else we need to talk about today, Al? Before we're open to Q&A. If anyone's got any final questions, let us know in the chat. Otherwise, I think should we give away some codes here?
Go for it.
Let's see here. Who do we have that isn't a Tinybird employee? Is Raquel or Nico?
Raquel is.
Raquel is. All right. Sorry, Raquel, you're out of the running. But Nico, I think you just pulled into the lead there with that great question. If you can reach, can you DM, like, maybe the best way to do this, can you shoot us a DM on Twitter or wherever, and just say like, hey, it was in the chat, and we'll pass you a code. And yeah, any other contenders here? Should we just like throw out a code here and see if anyone wants to take it? It's not too late if anyone wants to like just say how cool we are. We'll give you a free sweatshirt too. Yes, Tinybird, DM us on.
You can just very quickly stroke our ego, and we will.
That's right. We're very.
Please,
I'm very
please
open to
tell me
being.
You love me.
Exactly. Validation goes a long ways here at Tinybird. No, you should totally do that. But and whatever, even if you just like hit us up with like, if you DM us later on, we'll get you. We'll give you some codes too. We want to support our community as much as possible. We love you guys. You guys are the ones that make this possible, and we're just like so thankful you can join us for events like this too, where we get to show off this super cool stuff. We hope that you get a chance to use it. Even if like you're just starting to evaluate Tinybird, Mockingbird, and the new ChatGPT integration is a super easy, great way to get started with it. But if you've been on the fence about it, or like have some Kafka data or a data warehouse on Snowflake that you've been having trouble getting at, like utilizing the data with, for sure, reach out. You can hit Al or I up, or just hit a DM a Tinybird Co on Twitter or wherever. We have a Slack channel. I'm wondering, do we have a banner for our Slack channel? We don't, but I'm gonna, if you go to Tinybird, our Slack channel is the best way to get a hold of us. And if you have any questions about it, are still evaluating it, it's the best way to get in touch with us. Of course, we're all on Twitter, we're on the LinkedIn's, we're on YouTube's. For sure, reach out. But if you go down to the bottom of our page, hit the Slack button, you can join our Tinybird community. We'd love to have you there. Super great community for like talking about real-time products, like real-time applications, evaluating Tinybird. If you have any issues, comments, concerns, whatever, please join us there too. Let's see here. Also, keep in touch with us too. Follow us on Twitter. We have a bunch of exciting stuff dropping soon. I've been trying so hard to just keep my mouth shut about some of the exciting stuff that is going to be coming soon. So make sure you keep up to date with all that stuff there. Yeah, buy some Tinybird swag. I'm going to go get a 5-panel hat. I think that's it. Al, did I miss anything here?
No. But also hit us up on Twitter if there are other kinds of hats that you want to see on that shop.
Yeah.
I want to see a 10-gallon hat appear. But
oh my god! Yeah, we're open to
big bucket hat.
We're open to crappy ideas here. Really, anything you got, we'll take. Yeah, 10-gallon hats, swimsuits, maybe like a giant Tinybird.
A onesie for a dog is one I'd quite like to see.
I actually like that idea.
I would definitely get one, and my Chihuahua would be wearing a tiny pair.
I'm sensing a great Halloween costume.
That'll be on the next live stream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so stay tuned for that, please. We're going to be doing another live stream next Friday. I'll be doing it with Alex Martin, who's helped build the Snowflake connector. We're going to be going even deeper into that. So if you have a Snowflake warehouse that you're working with at work, or potentially evaluating, or whatever, if you're just interested to see how it works, and also we're going to be going over a demo that's a little bit more like a little larger, a little more real worldy than we went through today. Today was just kind of a basic overview. Check that out too. Yeah, I think that's it. Follow us online.
That's everything.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We are bang on time.
that first, I gotta say, that's the first time it's ever happened. So
We got 20 seconds until the end of the hour. So
and stream, to be honest, too, this is totally an accident that we got this. We nailed the timing on this. We've been just goofing around this whole time. So this is lucky for us.
Better if we planned it.
Well, Al, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to me for joining me. And thanks to all of you for being here.
Well, that saves me from having to thank you.
I got this. Dude. All right, y'all.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.